we have been discussing ignorance. Now I think I have repeated this fact again and again and again, so everybody can understand the facts we consider under ignorance. Ignorance is not knowing Four Noble Truths. Once you say not knowing Four Noble Truths, not knowing truth of suffering, cause of suffering, etc. And when you say not knowing truth of suffering, not knowing what birth is, what old age is, what death is, what pain is, etc., etc., all not knowings are ignorance. And finally there was not knowing the five aggregate subject to clinging is ignorance. And under that we discuss not knowing the form aggregate is ignorance. Not knowing the feeling aggregate, perception aggregate, mental formation aggregate and consciousness aggregate is ignorance. And now we are in this area that is not knowing mental formation aggregate is ignorance. Under that there are 50 mental factors. So among them there are 14 mental factors which are unwholesome. So not knowing these 14 mental factors is called ignorance. We can say that. So under that we have discussed, now we have been discussing today hatred, envy, stinginess and worry. All these are hatred, different forms of hatred, different forms of anger. And anger, hatred, envy, stinginess, worry, sorrow, mental pain, fear, all these are hatred, different forms of hatred. Now people don't think that sorrow is hatred, but sorrow is kind of hatred. And people don't think worry is hatred, but worrying is a hatred, type of hatred. And frustration also, people don't think frustration as a hatred, but it's a hatred. So all these are different types of hatreds, which is, we can say, opposite to greed. Now greed most of the occasion arise from the pleasant feeling. Because of pleasant feeling, greed arises. And because of unpleasant feeling, hatred arises. So we get sorrow because there is an unpleasant feeling behind it. Yes. This way we can explain hatred. And again, this hatred thing you can't eradicate at once. Even you become Sotapanna, hatred is there. Even if you become Sakadagami, hatred is there. But not as normal person's hatred. Very subtle type of hatred is there. And once you attain Anagami, the non-returner level, then only your hatred is completely eradicated. So for Sotapannas and Sakadagamis, hatred is there. Subtle type of hatred. And anything more you can contribute for our discussion regarding hatred? Yes, according to what I have heard, Icha, Machariya and Kukucha, envy, avarice and worry, probably not after Sotapannahood. Probably, but I can't say exactly. So somewhere I have read that people attain Sotapanna, they don't have envy. And same way, other things also may be not available within them, other three. But hatred is there. Because these unwholesome minds, two unwholesome minds rooted to hatred, is there until you attaining anagamihood. Now, next one is, now yesterday we read about avarice. So when we considering avarice, it's yes, it said the characteristic of avarice or stinginess is concealing one's own success when it has been or can be obtained. Its function is not to bear sharing these with others. So, not to sharing with others is one quality of avarice. That doesn't mean that you don't protect your things. You have to protect your wealth. You don't reveal everything to all the thieves. You have to protect. But there is a mentality in you. You don't want others to share it with you or touch it or see it, your wealth, your valuable things. Sometimes even your yes, there are 5 types of avarice. We call avasa macchariya, kula macchariya, vanna macchariya, dhamma macchariya. Yes, it's like this. Avasa macchariya means if you are the owner of certain monastery, let's say that way, you don't want others to share it. It is one type of avarice. And if you have good name and fame, you don't want others to share it, others to partake it. So it's one kind of avarice. And if you have good knowledge, education, you don't want to share with others. Even Dhamma, even though Dhamma, if you have good Dhamma knowledge, sometimes you don't want others to have same knowledge. So you don't give your knowledge to others. This is one type of avarice. And if you have good number of supporters, dayakas, you don't want others to share them. So it is another type of avarice. And Buddha says, if you have any of these avarice, you can't at least attain to first jhana. If you want to attain first jhana, you have to suppress these 5 types of avarices.
But you didn't understand the one about fame? You don't want...
Yes, fame here means good name. It's
how can you be stingy?
How can others be sharing with you your good name?
Let's say this way. Now I have good name. You say,
He's my friend.
he's my friend. And saying so, you get some benefit out of my fame.
Oh, okay.
So you don't
Connect.
like that. Your fame only for you. Nobody else should benefit it. This is the vanna macchariya, as I understand. Especially you don't like it, dislike, because this is a hatred-rooted mentality. You dislike it. You don't want others come close to you and get benefit out of your fame. That don't like is the avarice. Yes, I think now it's clear to you, no, what avarice is. Yes. And I have to say, all these things we know because of the Venerable Buddha Ghosha. From his books, all these things quoted. He wrote the book called Attasalini. This is the commentary for first Abhidhamma book. From that book, all these knowledge we get. If Buddha Ghosha has not written these things, nowhere in the Tripitaka you find these explanations. Next one is worry. In Pali, kukucha. Is worry or remorse after having done wrong. Its characteristic is subsequent regret. Its function is to sorrow over what has and what has not been done. It is manifested as remorse. Its proximate cause is what has and what has not been done. Wrongs of commission and omission. So this is also very, very prominent mentality, especially in meditators. Because when you meditate, you see all your wrongs, what you have done. Other people who are living in normal society, they have no time to concentrate on their mistakes and wrongs. But once you start to meditate, your mind confront, and then you see all the mistakes and wrongs and sins you have done. Then this mentality come up, worry. So that this comes as a hindrance. We call it uddacha kukucha, remorse and worry. Yes. So two ways are there to commit. One is you remorse, so you frustrate about bad things you have done. Other one is you frustrate good things you have not done or duties you have not properly performed. Because of these two things, you get remorse. It is again one kind of aversion. And how we can overcome these kind of things? I'm not going to talk lengthily, but what is the very, very initial, what is the easiest approach to deal with these things? These are just mental factors, and these are very, very impermanent. If you can see remorse and worry as something impermanent, this is the very effective way to overcome it.
Also to see them as not part of me?
Yes, if you can see, but the problem is you can't see that way, because you are the one who has done all the wrong. You are the one who has not done the good. So I or myself is there very strongly. That's why you suffer, you are worried. So if you can see impermanence of it, it is a bit easier than that. It arises and passes away. It's something mind-made, not real thing, mind-made thing. And all these mental factors, Buddha simile for these mental factors is banana trunk. Banana trunk has no hardwood. Although it looks big, it has no core. All these mental factors have same quality. Huh?
So for people that have not seen the cut banana trunk, it looks exactly like leeks. If you cut a leek in half, it looks exactly the same.
Yes. Banana trunk is like leeks. Yes. So worry. And next one is sloth, tina. Sloth is sluggishness or dullness of mind. Its characteristic is lack of driving power. Its function is to dispel energy. It is manifested as the sinking of the mind. Its proximate cause is unwise attention to boredom, drowsiness, etc. So this is the sloth. You all can experience sloth anytime, especially in meditation. So at that time you can focus to the sloth and try to understand the thing in the book, whether you can see in your meditation. The explanation here given in the book and the experience you are getting probably same about the sloth. Once sloth is coming, you can focus onto the sloth and try to, it's good to see what kind of thing is the sloth. Then you will see sloth is sluggishness or dullness of the mind. Its characteristics is lack of driving power. Its function is to dispel energy. All these things you yourself can see if you focus to the sloth when it is present. So book and your experience can be very close. Sloth. And the next one is torpor. Torpor is the morbid state of the mental factors. Its characteristic unwieldiness. Its function is to smother. It is manifested as drooping or as nodding and sleepiness. Its proximate cause is the same as the sloth. Actually, sloth and torpor always going hand in hand. Wherever sloth, there is torpor. Where is torpor, sloth is there. So these two always going together. And torpor is obvious than sloth because it is manifested as dropping or as nodding and sleepiness. These things even other people can see. No? So it is kind of very obvious mental factor than sloth. Sloth may be subtle. Now when you have sloth, torpor also there, but when sloth is prominent, you may sit properly and closed eyes, but inside you are having a kind of gloominess, kind of inactiveness, kind of you are in kind of mist. But when you have torpor, even other people can see you are in this state. So sloth and torpor are two unwholesome mental factors.
Can you comment on how, because these two, sloth and torpor, go as one hindrance, how to go against that, how to stop them or something?
Very first step is you have to understand it. You have to observe it. You have to generate energy not to chase it away, but to understand it, but to observe it. Observing ability is the best thing to face any hindrance. Observing ability, observing capacity, your talent to observe hindrances or defilement is the very first step. Especially as meditators, your very first talent you have to develop is observing ability. Don't, this is my idea, don't hurry to chase away defilements. Instead of that, try to understand defilements. This is very important and very valuable understanding. Once you understand defilements, then whenever it comes up, you can understand easily. But if you don't give enough place to understanding, then not give enough place to understanding or not give priority to understand, instead of that you want to defeat it, you want to chase it away. This make you tired. As I understand, this make you tired. Instead of fighting with it, firstly, if you try to understand it properly and see it perfectly, this understanding is the best thing to eradicate it, before eradicating. That's why Buddha says, "O monks, I say, one who sees, one who knows and sees can eradicate the taints." In Pali, Buddha says, can you remember Vinita Handru? Janato ko aham bhikkave passato asavanam khayam vadana. Monks, I say, for one who sees, knows and sees, taints are destroyed, or something like that. Taints can be destroyed for the person who know and who sees. But there Buddha further says, what he should know and see is yoniso manasikara and ayoniso manasikara. One who sees yoniso manasikara and ayoniso manasikara, he is the one who is capable of eradicating taints. So if you have yoniso manasikara, you see all the defilements without mixing with it. You see all your weaknesses and sins and bad things without mixing with it. How you mix with it? Either you frustrate or you attach. Without attaching an aversion, you have to observe all your weaknesses. Don't hide any weakness from you. Your weaknesses should not hide from you. You have to hide from others, of course, otherwise you can't live in this society. But for yourself, you should not hide any defilement. For yourself and your meditation instructor, probably. So you should not hide yourself. No, how to say? You should not hide your weaknesses and your faults and your defilements to you as well as your meditation instructor. For others, no problem. You can hide.
Bhante, would you also recognize, because you're talking a lot about your defilements, but would you also recognize your good qualities?
Yes. You have to recognize your good qualities, same way as you are recognizing your bad qualities. That ability to recognize is the yoniso manasikara.
Maybe just if you don't know yoniso manasikara, it's like wise attention.
Yes, wise attention. Yoniso manasikara is wise attention. You have to have ability to pay wise attention to your faults and your good qualities. Both should be equally wisely attended. So, torpor. Then, further explanations are there. Sloth and torpor always occur in conjunction and are opposed to energy. Sloth is identified as sickness of consciousness, torpor as sickness of the mental factors. As a pair, they constitute one of the 5 hindrances, which is overcome by initial application, vitakka. This is also another valuable data. In order to overcome sloth and torpor, you have to increase your applied or initial application, we call vitakka. If you increase your vitakka, sloth and torpor can easily be overcome. Because vitakka is kind of activeness in the mind. You pay your attention rapidly or correctly or energetically. Then in such a situation, sloth and torpor can't exist anymore. Even towards vitakka, even towards sloth and torpor, if you apply your vitakka, then sloth and torpor can't exist anymore. Now, as example, if you feel sleepiness and you start to note it as sleepiness, that that action itself generates energy. If you experience laziness and you apply your mind laziness, that action itself generates energy. So this vitakka is very important mental factor to overcome sloth and torpor. And there are many guidelines Buddha has given to overcome sloth and torpor. You can read this Pachalayana Sutta. I think it's in Anguttara 7, Anguttara Nikaya under 7th. So there Venerable Moggallana was nodding. So at that time Buddha preached this sutta to him. So it is useful sutta to face sloth and torpor. So again I can say ignorance. If you don't know sloth and torpor as sloth and torpor, it is ignorance. So knowing sloth and torpor as sloth and torpor is wisdom. Next one is doubt, vicikiccha. Doubt here signifies spiritual doubt. From a Buddhist perspective, the inability to place confidence in the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha, and the training. Its characteristic is doubting. Its function is to waver. It is manifested as indecisiveness and as taking various sides. Its proximate cause is unwise attention. So doubt also another hindrance and sometimes very destructive and harmful for the meditators who don't have enough confidence in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and the practice. These four things. If you have doubt in Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha and the practice, you can't go forward. But for Sotapannas, they don't have this mental factor within them. This is the great achievement. That's why they can practice easily in their practice up to the Arahanthood. Sotapannas are easygoing because they don't have any doubt about their practice or Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So doubt also a very bad thing, and you can see this doubt is not all sort of doubts, but doubt about Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and practice mainly, and sometimes it can be doubting about your past, whether I existed or whether I will exist, and what is this now existing thing. And you may doubt about the dependent origination and doubt about Sila, Samadhi, Panya, or doubt about the meditation, whether this meditation leads to Nibbana, etc. So all sort of doubts account under doubt relating to this practice, not other doubts. Now I don't know father's name of Venerable Bodhi. I may doubt about it, but it is not the doubt explaining here. Those type of doubts are not count under this particular doubt. So these are the unwholesome mental factors. And if we come back to our main theme, if we don't know these 14 and if we don't understand these 14 as unwholesome, this is our ignorance. So, and if I add some more things, these unwholesome factors not disappear quickly, not disappear at once. If you can attain Sotapannahood, then you eradicate only these two, doubt and wrong belief. Only these two will disappear. All the other 12 maybe this envy, stinginess, worry, maybe it is not sure to me, but surely I can say doubt and wrong view disappear once you attain Sotapanna. And when you attain Sakadagami or once returner, none of the unwholesome factors completely disappear, but greed and hatred become weak. And once you attain non-returner, in this greed, sensual desire part completely eradicated, but another part remains some until attain arhathood. And this hatred completely eradicated. These four things. These four, hatred, envy, stinginess and worry, completely eradicated once you attain non-return, anagami. And once you attain arahanthood, then only delusion, these other things are completely eradicated when you attain arahanthood. And my knowledge is not very complete about these things. I don't know what happened to sloth and torpor. Anyway, other mental factors exist until you attaining arahanthood. So, if you have knowledge about these things, it's a wisdom, it's right view. And if you don't know any of these things, it is called ignorance. And I can add some more information. All these mental factors are very, essenceless. Not any substance within them. Because of our ignorance, we feel they are real and they exist, they are powerful, they are tangible, they are gross. Because of the ignorance, we feel that way. Otherwise, they are like banana trunk. And all these mental factors are very rapidly arising and passing away. If you go to one very initial stage of these unwholesome mental factors, the lifespan of the mental factor is one mind moment. If you go to the extreme initial stage, the lifespan of a greed is one mind moment. But these mental factors doesn't arise one by one, slowly, not that way. They comes as floods. So we can't sort out. They are very little lifespan. We can't see their little lifespan. We see sometimes they exist many hours or many days, maybe years. Now sometimes if you have a good anger with somebody, it can last few days even. And if you have a sorrow in your mind, it can last many days. So sometimes if you have a good greed, it can last many days. But if you go to the actual level, real level, the lifespan of one mental factor is one mind moment. Yes, so this is the unwholesome mental factors. They are 14. Now I think everybody can remember it, no? So memorizing these things are also very important and very wholesome. So Tanya can read without looking at the board. Tanya can read, no?
I will try, but I'm
Yes.
not sure that it is going to be 14. Okay. So delusion, fearlessness of doing wrong, shamelessness of doing wrong, greed, hatred, sloth, torpor, doubt,
Yes.
I can't see.
Restlessness and worry. Yes.
I conceit.
Conceit.
I have
Yes.
this.
So these are the very initial stage of impurity, unwholesomeness. And these 14, because of combination with other things, can become 1,500 defilements. So in Abhidhamma Pitaka there is a book called Vibhangapakarana. In that Vibhangapakarana, as I remember, there is a one chapter called Dhamma Hade Vibhanga. In that chapter, Buddha has explained 1,500 defilements. Now if you look at this conceit, there are 21 types of conceit, but they are not exactly say conceit. It is said mother, man and mother. Mother is the word available there. It says you can have, as I said, 21 types of conceits. What are these conceits? You can have, let's say, Vannamada. Vannamada means, Rupamada, listen, Rupamada. If you are beautiful, handsome, you can have conceit. If you have nice voice, good voice, you can have conceit. If you have good wealth, you can have conceit. If you have good education, you can have conceit. And if you live long time in the sasana, if you are an old monk, you can have conceit. And if you have good knowledge about Dhamma, you can have conceit. And if your posture is very good, you keep your posture very nicely, then you can have conceit. You may think, oh, I am keeping my posture well, others are not. So this kind of conceit are there. And if you are the first one going in the line, you can have conceit. Like that, there are many conceits are there. Same way, all these mental factors have some other very deep and vast aspects. Now, yesterday we talked about hatred. Hatred has nine types. I couldn't explain it properly yesterday. You can divide into 3 times. In the past, you you hurt me. Yes. In the past, you hurt me. In the past, you hurt my friend. In the past, you support my enemy. So 3 hatred. Now in the present, you hurt me. In the present, you hurt my friend. In the present, you support my enemy. Now 6. Then in future, you will hurt me. In future, you will hurt my friend. In future, you will support my enemy. So 9. So 9 type of hatred. Like that, if you study these 14 factors, you will find lot of variations, different kinds of defilements. So I like to say again, don't hesitate to observe your defilements. Train yourself, or make yourself strong enough to face your defilements. All sort of weaknesses and defilements, no matter whatever it is, train yourself to face all the defilements. That facing doesn't eradicate completely, but that ability to face, educate yourself about the defilements. And again I say, don't hide any of your weaknesses from you. You can hide from others, your enemies, but don't hide any of your weaknesses from you. Instead of that, try to face all the defilements and understand these defilements are just dhammas or natural phenomena, mental factors, and they are impermanent. They have to arise until they have reasons, until they have cause, they have to arise. Huh? As long as they have, as long as you have the reasons, these defilements arise. Whether you like it or not like, they will arise within you. Until you attain Sotapannahood, you probably have these mental factors. Until you attaining non-returner, you probably can have these things. Until you become Arahant, you probably will have these other mental factors. Although you don't like it, you can't go away from them. They will follow you. Okay, this much is enough. Thank you very much. Teruvan Saranai.